the Federal Reserve has turned the market into a casino, and it's really helped undermine the productivity of the American economy, which is one of the reasons why we have huge trade deficits and the economy is so screwed up, is because of this bad foundation. And the Fed should be irrelevant. Nobody should be making investment decisions based on the Fed. But right now, the Fed is the only thing anybody cares about. Like, are they going to raise rates? By how much? Are they going to do QE? I mean, the fact that everything is riding on the decision of a few guys sitting in a room in Washington, D.C., that's not how capitalism is supposed to work, right? And if you think about what these guys do, they sit in a room and they decide the price of money. They decide the quantity of money. Why? Why should they make these decisions? I mean, that makes no more sense than having a bureau put together to decide the price of oil or the price of milk or the price of bread. Why don't we do that? Why don't we have government bureaucrats figuring out what prices should be? After all, wouldn't it be better if, some prices were lower? Why don't we set the price of oil at 50 cents a gallon, right? That'd be great, right? It would be a lot cheaper. Because we can't do that because it creates distortions. It creates problems. We know that we have to let the market discover the price. We just can't set the price. That's what the Soviet Union used to do. And it was a disaster because you waited in line for 4 hours to get, you didn't even know it was at the end of the line. You just waited in it if you saw it because you figured maybe there was something you needed. And what was there? Maybe they had rotten apples, but rotten apples were better than no apples. So you waited in line for 4 hours to get some because, they were cheap, but you spent a lot of time getting them and they weren't very good. So we know that we shouldn't fix prices, yet everybody thinks that it's a good idea to let government bureaucrats pick the interest rate. Why? I mean, you've got to figure that since money is half of every transaction and interest rates are really the price of money, the government is basically fixing every transaction we make. That makes no sense. If you believe in capitalism, then you don't believe in the Fed. And when the Fed creates problems, when it creates booms and busts, you can't blame that on capitalism because under capitalism, there is no Fed. This is the government. This is socialism. We have socialized that market function of interest rates. And we've got all the distortions that you would expect whenever you have price fixing. What do we have a shortage of? We have a shortage of savings. We have a shortage of real goods production. What do we have a surplus of? Debt, consumption, speculation. There's bubbles everywhere. These are not happening by accident. They're happening because of the Fed. And so they need to take a step back and undo all the damage that they've done. Now, that can't be done in isolation, right? In order to do the right thing, there's going to be a lot of short-term pain, which is why we never do the right thing. Politicians don't want short-term pain, even if it leads to long-term gain, because they don't care about long-term gain, because they may not be in office if we have the short-term pain. So what they would rather have is less pain now, even if it means more pain later.